The worst yellow dust storm of the decade has swept across all of South Korea, blanketing everything and everyone in its wake with hazardous fine dust. And this is causing a spike in national respiratory problems and bad allergies. There are two standards to keep in mind in a discussion of air quality: the size of the dust particles in micrometers and their amount in micrograms. Regarding yellow dust particles under 10 micrometers, known as PM10, Korean authorities categorize between 81 and 150 micrograms as bad and recommend citizens to stay home. At levels higher than 150, alerts regularly blare on everyone's phones to limit outdoor activities to the minimum. The PM10 level recently peaked at 545 micrograms in Seoul and averaged at levels of 400 to 500 for days. These serious numbers have been accompanied by nationwide cries of throat pains and eye irritations. But here's worse news for Koreans. Even more dangerous, finer particles that infiltrate most regular face masks have also been at unprecedented levels. Fine particles smaller than 2.5 micrometers, known as PM2.5, pose the greatest health risk. While the World Health Organization recommends keeping PM2.5 levels below 25 micrograms, Seoul and almost all regions in the nation have been suffering at astounding levels of 90 to 100 micrograms in the recent week. The Korea Meteorological Administration reported that the yellow dust which hit South Korea had originated in the Inner Mongolian region in northern China and the vicinity of the Gobi Desert. On March 15th, Beijing and other Chinese cities were shrouded by what the local weather agencies also called the biggest sandstorm in a decade. Reports show that it had crossed the sea and landed in Korea the next day. Tensions are rising in the China-Korea relations as Chinese authorities deny reports showing Chinese origins of the yellow dust. Instead, they are passing the blame onto Mongolia. In response, the Korean government and weather research agencies have maintained that most of the yellow dust on the Korean peninsula is from China. Many netizens from both countries have pointed out that this is a matter of concern for everyone and that government leaders must begin cooperating on the issue of climate change that is behind the air pollution. Meanwhile, for Korean citizens, the air quality alerts on their phones are expected to continue blaring for weeks to come.